Welcome to American Dream Vacation. My name is Virgil, and I'll be doing your orientation on Unit 1829. Come on in, let's show you a few things here. First, we're going to start off with the monitor panel here, which is up here. This controls all the different things inside the RV. If you look at the panel, the first thing you're going to see fresh, gray, black, things like that. That's your fresh water, showing you how much fresh water you have in your tanks, and it reads from empty to full. And then you look at the black and the gray and so forth. That's basically how you tell how much are in your tanks. Then you get this one that says main and auxiliary. The auxiliary battery is the one for the RV, inside lights and so forth. And the main battery is the battery that starts the truck. So if you push that again, it'll show you how much battery power you have left. We also have this button up here for the hot water heater. When you turn that on, the light comes on and it lights itself. If that light comes back on within about 15 or 20 seconds, that means that the hot water heater didn't light. And then you need to turn it off, wait 1 minute, and try it again. This, what it says auxiliary battery, that kills the battery power, the auxiliary battery inside the coach. If you shut that off, you're going to turn off your fridge and different things like that because it kills the power. Over here where it says water pump, that turns on the water pump. You have a tank on board where you're carrying water. When you don't have a hose hooked to the side of the RV, you're able to get water from your tank to the various things inside the RV. The toilet, the sink, the shower, and so forth. But you do have to turn this water pump on. When you have a water hose hooked to the side of the RV at a campground or at your house or wherever, you don't need to use this pump because you're using the fresh water, or they call it city water hose. So you wouldn't have to turn that on. And then this other button over here is where you would start and stop your generator. Your generator provides you with power when you don't have electricity. So you're cruising down the road, you need electricity for the microwave, air conditioning, whatever, you start up your generator. And the way this works is, first thing you want to do is you want to push the off button and hold it down, and basically what you're doing is you're priming the carburetor on the generator, because this is carbureted, not fuel injected. So you hold it for about a count of 10, and then you push the on button and you just hold it until she starts up. Let's give it a shot. Okay, your generator is running now. And if you notice the little red light is on, that tells you that your generator is running. Also, we have an hours counter meter here that counts how many hours the generator has been run. Okay? So if this light goes out, you probably lost your power to the generator. Once the generator starts, there's about a 1 minute delay before you have electricity inside the RV. Now, there's two different ways this thing works. There's either you have excuse me, you have a power cord outside, your main cord, which is 30 amps, 25 feet long. When you unplug from your main source or the campground, you need to plug that cord back into the electrical outlet outside in a compartment on the motorhome. And once we get outside, I'll show you that. But if your cord is not plugged into that box, you will not get electricity inside the motorhome, regardless if this generator is running or not. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and shut that off. Just hold it a little bit, and then it goes off, and then the light goes out. Also, up here you have the button that controls the slide-out room. This RV does have a slide-out, of course, and what you want to do is, in this particular case, you have to start the engine on this RV before you can bring the room out. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, we've got the engine running, and that allows us to bring the room out. But before you do that, you always want to check to make sure there's nothing behind the slide out, or the chair is not up against the room before you decide to bring the room in or out. So this was a little close, so I'm going to move it forward. Okay, and make sure there's nothing down in between the wall and the slide out that will cause the room to get stuck. So here we go, let's give it a shot. And just push it in the out position, and just hold on to it. As you can see, the room is going out, and you don't want to have any little kids sitting on there as this room is coming out. And also you want to look on the outside and make sure you don't have anything that the room could possibly hit when you're bringing it out. And I know this is going to sound silly, but you cannot drive down the road with this room out unless you have one of those wide load trucks with a light flashing. Anyway, bad joke. All right, moving right along. Up here you have another button here where it says porch light. That's your outside porch light. And then this other button is for your entry light, which is overhead. And that controls that, and then that one controls your porch light. The lights all work off of 12-volt battery power. So, reiterate once again, if your auxiliary battery is dead, You will not have any lights or 12-volt power inside the coach. Okay, we're gonna move down here to the stove. You have a 3-burner propane stove, and the way you light the stove is you decide which eye and you turn to light, and then you use a sparkerator, as I call it, and that lights the stove for you. And then you do the other one, that lights that one, and then you do the third one, and that lights the stove for you. It's pretty much how that works. Now the oven you have to light manually. So what you would do is you would go to this knob here, and it says pilot on. You turn to pilot on, you hold it, and then you have to get down here, open up the door, and way under the very bottom of this rack here, you're going to see 2 little stems under here. And what you do is you take a match or one of those little barbecue grill lighters, and you hold it down there at that stem, and when it lights, you come up here and you turn this knob once again to whatever temperature you want the oven to be at, and then it'll light up, and that's how you light your oven. Okay? Down here also we have what's called a propane detector. It detects the smell of propane. It also detects the smell of other different scents that could possibly be in the RV. Propane smells like rotten eggs. If you have a rotten egg smell, you either have a propane leak or you have rotten eggs you need to throw out. Up here you got the microwave here. Of course you need the electricity for the microwave or the generator. So it's pretty much like any microwave at home. You would just set the time and there you go. Okay, and then you have a lot of different various cabinets and so forth. And up here at the top, you see your roof air conditioner. If you need to run this air conditioner when you're traveling down the road, once again, you do have to have the generator going because you don't have a long cord to follow you everywhere. So basically, you have your generator going, and then you turn this to low cool, or you turn it to high cool. And you have air blowing out of the front and as well as out of the back. Okay, and then this other knob here is how you adjust your temperature. Alright, so that's how your air conditioner works. You do need to run the air if you have more than 2 people in here to try to keep the whole RV cool, and that's where the generator comes into play. It's perfectly safe to run the generator when you're driving down the road, in case you're wondering about that. The generator uses about 1 gallon of gas an hour. When your fuel gauge drops down to 1/4 of a tank on your gauge, your generator is going to shut off. So if your generator is important to you, don't ever let your fuel gauge drop below 1/4, because you will lose your generator, and it means you're going to lose all your electricity inside. Okay? Over here we have the refrigerator. This refrigerator works off of propane as well as electricity. Now you got these 2 knobs here. This one knob here turns the refrigerator off and on. As you can see, I push it in and it lights the refrigerator up. And then you have this other knob. So right now, this button, it says for gas will be out. But if you have hooked up to electricity, you don't want to use your gas, you basically just leave it on automatic, because it knows automatically what the most dominant source is. So right now we're plugged into electricity, so it's going to run electricity. The minute we unplug this RV from the outlet, or the minute you shut off the generator, it's going to automatically switch to gas or propane. When you first turn these on, it takes about 6 hours before these refrigerators reach their maximum operating temperature. It starts from the top down, so if you turn it on and 2 hours later you're feeling down here in the main part of the fridge and nothing's really happening yet, that's because it starts from the top down. So touch the freezer, the bottom of the freezer, and if it's getting cold, then you're on your way to a cool refrigerator later on down the line. It's a good idea to try to put stuff in the refrigerator that's already cold, because the way this thing works, it takes the heat out of what's being put in there. So if you put cold food in there that you bring directly from your refrigerator, it's going to help it cool to its temperature a lot quicker than the 6 hours that we talked about. Okay? And when you close these doors, make sure you hear that little snap, because you don't want to be driving down the road, and then these things pop open on you. Okay? Over here is pretty self-explanatory. You have your sink here. Once again, if you need water and you're not hooked up to a hose, you turn on your water pump and that gives you water. If you don't have the pump on, then you'd need to have a water hose hooked to the side of the RV. Okay? Down here is your main breaker box. Push that and it pops open. Inside of here, you got all these breakers as well as fuses like in a car. If you see one trip, you just push it back and reset it, and that's how you would do your breaker box. And they're all marked in here as well. Okay? That's your main breaker box. Over here, you have your lavatory. It's pretty self-explanatory like anything else. You got your light switch over here, and then you can turn on the water pump from here or from the main switch over there when you first come into the unit. This right here is your thermostat for your furnace, and your furnace runs off of propane. Inside here is your medicine cabinet. All RVs or travel trailers come with 4 rolls of toilet tissue and 2 bottles of chemicals. As you can see, that's what we have in there. Okay, you only want to use tissue that we provide to you, or RV tissue if you had to buy some. Make sure it's designed for RVs. That tissue from home is too thick, and it'll just clog up the sensors in the tank, and it'll show that there's something in the tank even after you've dumped it. So make sure you use the right toilet tissue. And in here, this toilet is a little different than the one at home. Most of us have levers, but you have a foot lever on this toilet here. What happens is, before you use the toilet, you always want to put a little water in the bowl there. Put a little water in the bowl before you use it, and then you step all the way down, and that flushes the toilet. And this is not like a toilet at home. You really only want to use waste and regular toilet tissue. You can see this stuff is very thin, and that's the way RV tissue is. It's very, very thin, and if you're not careful, your fingers will go right through it. All right, and then the shower is pretty self-explanatory. As you can see here, I'll step out of the way so you can see the shower. The hot water heater, when you turn on the hot water heater, it takes about 20 minutes before you have hot water. Then you have a whole 6 gallons of hot water. That's about a 3-minute shower. And as soon as you start using water, it automatically starts pulling more water into the tank and reheating it. That's how the hot water heater works. And basically back here, you've got your double bed, corner bed here. And if you look at this window over here, folks, you see where it says exit? And if you can see the 2 red handles, that is your emergency exit. If you grab those 2 red handles and turn them in towards you, that whole window swings out, and then you crawl out of that window and you escape through that window there. That is your emergency exit. Okay? Over here we have this dinette. This dinette will turn into a twin-size bed. Basically what you do is you remove all the cushions, and then you reach up under here, and you would pull this little lever towards you, and it drops all the way down, and it fills in this square here with this table. Once these are gone, this will sit nice and flush in this square. And once it's down there and flush, you put the cushions back on top, and you lay all 4 of the cushions flat. And that makes it to like a little futon or a little twin bed. When you are sleeping on this, it's okay to lay on it, but if you're trying to put on your shoes or do something, or if you're an adult, you don't want to sit in the middle of this table. You want to sit on the ends here at the boot section, because this table will break right in half if you weigh enough when you're sitting on that. So kind of keep that in mind. Okay, and then just pop it back up in place. All right, you also have a smoke detector up here, and then you have a TV and a DVD player. This TV must be in the locked position, or else it'll kind of move around. But if you're driving down the road and you wanted to have your occupants watch TV, you would pull this lever down, and that will release this bracket, and that will allow this TV to rotate around so the people sitting over here could watch TV going down the road, or watch the DVD. You cannot get TV reception when you're going down the road. You just can't pick it up. The only thing you can really do is watch movies on the DVD player. And to put this back in place, you push it back over there, and you pull your pin, and then you lock it back in place. And that's how that would work. This TV requires electricity. That means you either have to be plugged in, or you have to be running a generator in order to watch movies going down the road. Okay? This also is another bed up top here. Basically what you do, you would just kind of grab this middle piece here, and you flip it over, and it fills in this square. And if you notice, this has wood under there, so in case you're wondering, well, how's that going to hold up? It's wood, so you can sleep a couple of adults up here or several children. That's how this works, okay? And then you have a privacy curtain up here that closes off for privacy. You have a couple of fresh air vents. One thing about these to remember is if you open this vent up, this one does have a cover on it, so you could leave this open when you're traveling or if you're parked, and if it starts to rain, you should be fine. But some of these don't have covers on them. So if you've got one, when you open it up, if you see the sky, that means that you should not leave it open driving, or you should not leave it open in the rain, because you will get water all inside the coach here. Okay? All right. There is a privacy curtain in this cabinet here. This privacy curtain, in case you're wondering, how do I block off the front so people can't see inside? Well, that's what this is all about. This is your privacy curtain. If you notice, there are snaps all along here, and this drapery has snaps, and it basically snaps into place, and it keeps people from being able to see inside the coach. And that's how that would work. You just snap it in place, and they can't see inside the coach when you're in here camping. Okay? Fold this up real quick here. You've got this easy chair here, which is right over here. It's a recliner, so when you're traveling, you're able to sit there and on that easy chair there, and it kind of moves there, and it rocks a little bit. And then you've got these shades here that you can pull down for privacy at night. Okay? Up here at the driver's area, of course, you got this seat. You can slide it back, and then you can adjust the back part of it. It's pretty self-explanatory up here. You know, it's a Ford chassis, you know, and you got all your cruise control and everything up here, and your lights are automatic. Your stereo CD players here, and then of course all your air conditioning. You've got a couple of outlets here to plug in your cell phones and so forth. Does have airbags, steering wheel here and over there. This is pretty much it. Okay. All right. We're going to step outside. So we're going to take a brief intermission, and we're going to step outside.